whatever size you are, whatever color you are, like what feels good to you, I want us to exude more beauty. I always tell them about glowing from the inside out because so many of us, we just don't feel good in our own skin, or we don't think we have enough education, or we're good enough at our jobs, or we're good enough parents. And it's all just beauty. We're all just people here trying to do the best we can. And I want everybody to love it.
Welcome to the Beauty Talk podcast, where we feature how the best medical practitioners help their patients to look better, younger, and healthier. Now, enjoy the show, and here's your host.
Daniel Gao here. I'm the host of Beauty Talk. We feature the top practitioners in health and beauty, both inside and out. I have Carmella Bell, a licensed marriage and family therapist, relationship coach, Amazon bestselling author, entrepreneur, and founder of Conversations with Carmella. After a 17-year career in banking, she reinvented her life and returned to the mental health field, combining professional experience with lived experience as a former wife, divorced mother of 2 young adults, and business owner. Today, she helps people improve their relationships, careers, and confidence by improving how they use their words. Through her heart framework, Carmella teaches people how to connect their thoughts, feelings, and words so they can communicate with greater confidence, clarity, and intention in every area of life. So Carmella, welcome and glad to have you here.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let's start kind of from the your origin story. You were in banking for a long time, and then you transitioned over to mental health. What was that story all about?
Yeah, and technically, I went to school first, got the bachelor's and the master's,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a point where it was kind of hard to get a job.
Mm-hmm.
And I had already been in banking while I was in college. And so it kind of got to a point where, like, we either get this therapy job or we can't afford to stay in therapy because I had a husband, a new baby, we had a new house. So it was the finances didn't really make it work. And I was a little disenfranchised with therapy because I knew that I kind of wanted to work with people in a more in-depth way than I really might have gotten to work with them in therapy. So I was a little uncertain, but the rubber hit the road and I had to leave therapy behind for a little bit. So I was stayed in banking for a good while. And it's interesting because I think that was a part of the plan.
Okay. And so what was that? Can you dive a little bit deeper into that transition point where you said enough with banking, now you want to get back into the mental health side?
Yes. So I thought that I kind of like really didn't like therapy, that therapy didn't give me the interaction that I needed. But the whole time I was in banking, I was there doing therapy with all kinds of people. And I'm like, wait a minute, I thought you said you didn't like this. You keep doing it all the time. And it also got to the place in banking where I had, kind of climbed the ladder to the point that I could. Started out on the phones when you calling about your debit card or your checking account. That was me. And I made my way all the way up through anti-money laundering. And it got to a place where I had a choice. Like I could climb this ladder and stay in banking, or is that really what you want? Is that going to give you the future that you want? And I was like, I could do that, but no, this is not it. And my son in 2012 got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And so after going through this whole thing trying to keep him alive and learning diabetes, that is what brought back kind of this zest for therapy. Is I wanted to kind of open a practice and be able to support people who had diabetes or other chronic illnesses, to help them just have a place to talk about what they go through, because it is so hard and most people don't understand it. And so that is really what gave me the passion to come back, was to help those people.
Okay. Now, starting your own business and being a business owner is a journey into itself. What led you to decide to start your own business?
Well, it was always kind of in me. I have a lot of people in my family who have entrepreneurial spirits, and some of them got off the ground, some of them didn't. But I've just kind of always wanted to have my own business. I had set a goal that by 40, I would have either written my first book or started my first business. I just didn't know what it was going to be. And so about 37, something kind of hit me upside the head. I was like, are you looking at the clock? We are getting close. What are we going to do? And so that's when I really prayed my way into a layoff. I know that sounds weird, but I did pray myself into a layoff, got that good little funds that I used to write my book, and started that first business. I took that business as far as I could without like having money for ads and everything. And that's what led me back into therapy. I already had studied for my test and gotten the license, but you know that whole pigeonhole where you got to have experience to get experience?
Mhm.
Yes, I got stuck in that for 2 years. And so finally, working at a retail job, just being nice to people, a lady walked in and asked me, "Oh, so you're a social worker too?" I'm like, "No." But then what did I do? Give her all my deets. And lo and behold, it landed a job. So I ended up getting those hours and I got back into therapy. And once I got into all that work, it reminded me how much I love working with families, how much I love helping people learn how to use their words and connect to their feelings. So I fell in love all over again.
Got it. Okay. So then let's go into now that you have your practice and you're working with patients. What are the most common situations that people come to you for? I would imagine that since it's marriage and family, they're coming if they're having marriage issues or maybe having issues with their kids or with the parents or whatever it is. But are those kind of, is it really as simple as that? Or are there more situations that people come to you for?
Well, it kind of comes down to the niche. Thankfully, because I started that first business in diabetes, I came back into therapy understanding that I needed to kind of identify myself a certain way. So if anybody found me on any bios, my bios talk about communication. Do you ever feel unheard? Or do your simple conversations always seem to blow up, or you walk away feeling misunderstood and unseen? And so every time people find my bio, I usually always get people who feel like those exact things. So I usually would get couples
Mhm.
because they're having a hard time understanding and hearing each other, or I'll get individual adults, whether it's male or female, come in and say, "Hey, I'm not able to talk to my wife right, or I'm not getting across to my boss. These people are not understanding me, or I'm not understanding them. These relationships don't work well." And so that's most of the time what people come for. A lot of the clients who see me have anxiety, and some have depression, but that's usually where I am. And I do a lot of parenting work, but most of the time it's not with the whole family. It's usually helping the parents learn how to work through their own stuff as kids. Because sometimes when we come through stuff, we want to parent through the thing we went through. And that generally doesn't help our kids. So I usually do a lot of helping the parents kind of learn new skills and turn things around so they can parent their kids better.
Okay. And that's kind of an interesting concept. People coming to you more from the communication side because you think like, well, marriage counseling is, oh, you're having an issue with your spouse. We got to go to therapy and get it figured out. Where it's more of it's a communication issue, and I want to communicate better with this person. So it's an
Right.
interesting, different perspective.
Right, because really people never really look at the fact that I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist because they're licensed professional counselors, they're social workers. So we have all these different credentials that you can be doing therapy with. But I actually am a marriage and family therapist. And so we have more extensive training in the family dynamic system. And I absolutely love it. But the couples, yes, usually the couples are coming to me more so because we've hit the road. We are not hearing each other. This relationship, we're not sure if this can still work or not. Can we come figure it out? Is usually what they're coming to me for. I don't really get a whole lot of infidelity and that type of stuff,
Okay.
but
And
sometimes.
yeah, now there's this concept when it comes to communication as far as like using words to advocate for like themselves. Could you dive a
Yes.
little bit deeper into kind of what you mean by that?
Yes, because some of us, the people who come to me, tend to deal with anxiety because we kind of are, they're stressors and worriers. They hold a lot of things in. Many times they're not people who are really talking a lot to others. And so they got a lot going on in their head. And when we don't talk a lot to others, and depending on the kind of content that we're putting into our brain, a lot of the people who do end up with me have a lot of negative thoughts. We might be hard on ourselves, and that usually comes from our past, from maybe parents or teachers or siblings or friends. We keep all that stuff inside of us. So these people come here and we kind of have to work through this. So I go through a process of kind of just figuring out where they've been, what they're going through, and seeing where they are. But a lot of people, they have a little bit of a confidence issue, and we've got to build up their confidence because there's no way that I can tell you, look you in your eyes and say, "Hey, that's not okay. You can't treat me like that." If I'm not feeling confident, if I don't feel worthy, if I don't feel like I deserve to be treated better. So confidence and words go together. Confidence and advocacy go together.
Okay. Now, when it comes to online dating, You actually teach women and men
I
how
do.
to use online dating as personal development.
I do.
I've never really heard that concept using online dating as personal development. What do you mean by that?
Yes, because after being married for so long, we were married 18 years and together like 27 years or so because we married at like 19. When I came out, like, what is dating? How do people do it? And so I knew that, okay, this relationship did not work. You think you know what you want, but do you? You think you're a good communicator, but are you? Because that didn't work. So I knew immediately I need to get out here and talk to people so I can figure out what's what. So I get out in the dating world and getting to know people and falling for all the things. The ghosting, not used to that. The gaslighting, and some guys can be very mean, and some guys can just tell you all the sweet stuff and then be gone tomorrow. I fell for all the things. But the thing about me is I'm not going to do a thing too long wrong. And so after I got a few couple of hits, I was like, hold on, we're not doing this right. We got to go back to the drawing board. What's not working? And so I basically did an analysis of you're not so in some areas in communication, you're doing well. Some areas in your boundaries, you definitely need to do better. So I started identifying what I was not doing well on and wrote the list, and I created a process. I said, okay, we're going to get online and I'm going to start just talking to people. And I just took, because I had a list, and I just literally did one thing at a time. And I would work that one thing until I got good at it, then scratch it off, go to the next. And I worked all the way down the list. And what I ended up finding out is by doing this, a lot of women, and I will say men, because I talk to a lot of men too, we have rejection issues, right? Everybody's scared to be rejected. Taking myself through this process, man, I dusted that off. I can take rejection like nobody's business because in online dating, you got 500 ways to be rejected.
Mhm,
500 ways. And it's a numbers game. So
mhm,
once you go through all these people, it's like, okay, oh, they didn't match. Okay, who's next? Oh, I was hoping you would have matched. I thought you were cute, but okay, who's next? Like
mhm.
you move through. I found I was like, oh wait, I'm not upset about this anymore. And even with women, more so than guys, we have a hard time releasing men. We're really trained, be the good girl, don't talk to a lot of guys. We're kind of almost trying to boyfriend everybody we talk to. So it's hard for us to release people online. You get to practice releasing, releasing, releasing. And this is not about just up here being a savage, as they call it. I look at the profile and as I teach my clients, if you like the picture or if you like the words, heart, because we're not guaranteed who's going to speak back to us, and we don't know what's going to come of the conversation. But if I like something and I think there's a potential that I'm interested, then we give it a shot. And if we talk to them until we realize it's a no. So we're not using anybody, we're not abusing anybody. Everybody that we're talking to, we think is an opportunity until we know they're not. And we're practicing our skills. So I got to work on rejection, releasing people, boundaries, speaking up for myself. And that was a thing that I realized I didn't have a lot of practice in my relationship. We didn't argue. It was more kind of quiet. He was more quiet. I kind of realized I was reading his mind a lot. So it was good for me to be able to talk to a lot of different guys and be exposed to different ways they communicate because it helped me learn a lot of new skills.
Okay. Now, when it comes to the communication and also on the online dating side, I mean, the two are very closely interrelated. So, what would be some tips that you would give to the average person to improve their communication skills? And then, I guess, even a deeper conversation was that if people are using online dating, they want to try and find somebody like, what are some tips that they can do? Either their approach, which I think you went over quite a bit, or like, what are just some tips that they can try and have a little more success when they're doing online dating?
Well, for one, the number one thing that I teach my clients, even if they never came to learn my framework and work with me, don't go to online dating looking for a person. Don't go to any dating looking for a person. We need to engage dating from a standpoint of learning more about who we are. So if I meet a person, it's okay. This is a new opportunity to learn something about myself. Who is this person? What gifts is he going to bring to me that I get to learn something new? That is what we're doing here. Now, if we happen to have some things in common, we like spending time together. We keep connecting, and over a couple of days, couple of weeks, couple of months, we just happen to not want to let go of each other. Well, then maybe we have a match. But if we don't, it's okay. He came, I learned that I don't like people who are very loud because that makes me scared. So that's on my whiteboard. He has to go. You learn, you amass a bunch of really important things about yourself, even though I'm talking to multiple people and pushing the ones to the side that don't work for me. So don't approach dating or online dating from a standpoint of trying to find your person. Find yourself first, because then when you run into your person, you'll know everything will match up. It'll feel good. It's natural. You will not miss them.
Okay. And you talked about having a framework. If I have the heart framework, what is the heart framework?
The heart framework is a process where we are basically making sure that we are healed and that we are not, because if we're not healed, then we harm others, right? So I take them through a process where we assess where we are in our healing. So if I'm healed from my past, I also make sure that they are saddled with a process that they can go through, because as we go out here and meet people, we are going to like some of these people. Somebody's bound to kind of hurt our feelings because it might end before we're ready to end. So they get a little toolkit on how to work through that grief. But we want to make sure we're healed, because we hurt when we heal. If we're not healed, we hurt people. Then we go through our mindset. We have to have a positive mindset, because if we're negative, oh, there's pee in the dating pool, oh, there's no good guys left, all that stuff. When somebody comes, taps you on the shoulder and says, hey, you're like, what? Wait a minute, you just told me you want a guy, and why are you talking to him like that? So we have to make sure that we have a positive mindset and that we're looking forward to and we're ready to go engage people. Third part is clarity, really knowing who you are, what you need, why you need it. Because if I don't know that, then what am I telling you? And then when you tell me, hey, well, I want to give you all these things, do I even know if that's a good thing for me or a bad thing for me? I do not know. Then we want to, the fourth thing is we're looking at is creating a life we love. So many people that I work with don't have a life at all, let alone a life we love. And when you don't have a life you love, you run the risk of trying to make everybody else your life, which is why when they decide to leave, we have a harder time releasing and letting go. But if you create a life you love first, and then they come into your life, okay, we have a little extra fun, but when they leave your life, what do I still have? A wonderful life that I love, that is full. And then lastly, it's full of dating strategies, ways to date smarter, not harder, where we don't get caught up in all the webs that can really hurt us in the worst ways. So what this does is when you go through the heart framework, it builds dating resilience. You have confidence and you're just not fearing everything that's coming around the corner. And you just date from a different standpoint than what most people are starting at without the program. It has changed so many people, so many of my women and my men in the way they date.
Okay. Now, when it comes to misconceptions, I'm sure you get a lot of misconceptions from your clients and your patients. What are some of those common misconceptions or myths that you hear from them?
Myths, well, some people, the first thing people, as far as may not necessarily be a myth, but pushback is people do think that, oh, so you're just using people. You're just using people so you can get good at things. No, we're all out here wanting something. We're all talking to each other for a reason. And that's why I said, we make sure that I am interested. So we're not out here just swiping on people who I'd never give a chance, or we're going to go on this date and I know I'm not going to talk to you tomorrow. No, we're not doing that. And sometimes people think that. Another myth is people think it's not that easy, that this can't really work. It works so well. So, is there another myth? I think that's really the big one, is that people don't think that you really can change how you date. And they really don't think that you can date productively using online dating.
So, how do you date productively?
You date productively by not getting caught in all, I'll say, the minutia, the traps. So a lot of times you'll see more people that you don't want than you do. A lot of women, they'll be like, oh, do you see him? Oh my gosh, I can't believe he liked me. And they will spend 10 minutes complaining about a guy who they don't like. Why are you still looking at him? He should have been gone. You should be 3 people down by now. We over focus on what we don't want is one way we get caught in a trap. We a lot of times don't build our profile good enough to where we can let them self-select in or out. Some people will leave like a blank profile because they think, well, I don't want to tell you all the things because then you're just going to try to be whatever I say. No, 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 no. We still need to create a framework because if you leave it open, you are welcoming every fish in the sea. That's a lot to deal with. So we do want to build our profile well. Sometimes we want to make sure we have good pictures because I'm sorry, men catfish just like women catfish. We hat fish, we wig fish, we filter fish, we do all the things. And so we want to make sure we have good pictures so that people can, again, qualify, disqualify. Let me see. And I might be forgetting our question. What was our question?
How do you date productively?
Yes, yes. So I'm making sure I'm still on track. Pick good pictures, good profile. Oh, and the number one thing that I do before my people get online, I like them to set an intention. So because we're not going to online dating to find our partner, why am I coming here? If I'm coming to work on my communication skills, okay, I'm coming here to work on my communication skills because I'm scared to talk to guys, or I'm scared to be flirty, or I'm scared to, like talk about different things because I'm usually just an introvert. Know what your agenda is, and when you get there, because when we get in there, it's kind of like, oh, shiny objects, and we forget, and we start going to boyfriend zone again. No, come back, come back, come back. We're working on communication, so hit these people. Talk to these people. Say hello. I normally tell people hit 10. Hit 10, say hello to all 10. And they're like, well, I like men to speak to me first. Listen, there are a lot of mean women out here. Men are being handed their behinds easily these days. We need to wave the white flag and let them know we're friendly. And then it is up to him to go ahead and usher in if he's interested or not. So I do coach to that I feel like let's give him a white flag, know that we're friendly. And then if he wants to talk, fine. If he doesn't, then we move on to the next. So I feel like a lot of people they're not productive because they won't start conversations or they're waiting on them to start a conversation. Just say hello. Say hello, and so we can get the party going. And also, if you're very particular about what you want to talk about, definitely be the person to start the conversation. So many people I talk to are so frustrated with the conversations online, but they're not starting the conversation. If you want it to go away, start it. And then if they can't keep it up, then obviously they're not your person or they're not interested. Either way, they're giving you information. That's another big deal. Accept the verbal and the nonverbal data you're receiving. So many of us, men and women that I talk to, want everybody, just tell me. Just tell me what it is. If you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. No, everybody's not going to do it. Sometimes they're going to tell you. Sometimes they're going to do it in a bunch of other ways. We have to be more willing to assess the nonverbal, take the L if we have to, deal with our feelings, and move on. Too many people get stuck here in this place because the person just didn't tell them. If y'all had one conversation and it felt really good, but he never came back, it's over. Let it go. Go to the next.
Great advice there. So let's say that somebody is interested in getting help on this topic, whether it's communication, whether it's with a spouse, a child, dating even, but they don't know who to go to. What advice would you give to this person as they're doing their search so they can find a professional who they can trust, who has the knowledge, has the experience, and can help them basically get the end result they're looking for?
I love this question so much. I spend a lot of time helping people know how to find a therapist, and I will be speaking in terms of a licensed professional. And this is not referring to coaching, just to be specific. When it comes to finding a therapist, I always encourage people to, one, we have a lot of databases now that exist that have a lot of vetted professionals. Those are very good. I know we're not being paid for anything, but Psychology Today is big. We know there's, BetterHelp and a bunch of other places where they have a lots of conglomerates of therapists in certain places. Psychology Today, I kind of still like because they're not attached to any of these other platforms. They're just showing you who the people are. I like that you can go read their bio. You can see what insurances they accept or if they only are cash pay. You can see what who they work with. And it's real good kind of one-stop shop. And what I tell people is read the bio, look for your problems in the things they say. So if I'm looking at a bio and it's like, yeah, I help um, people who are dealing with sobriety and, chemical dependency, but I'm looking for somebody to help me with depression. Well, they probably have some training, but they do sobriety and chemical dependency. Let's go find somebody who's talking about helping with depression and trauma, doing some maybe EMDR and all these different things. So we want to be looking for somebody whose bio is reading what we're looking for. So when people look at my bio, I'm saying, are your conversations always ending this way? Are you tired of feeling this way after talking to people? My words are right there. So a good bio is you're going to find yourself in it. Some therapists are still of the old school where they just throw the kitchen sink at you and say, we do everything. Because by and large, we're trained for a lot. And that's why, even though I love communication, if you got trauma, we're going to work with it. I can do all the things, but the thing I love to do is communication. So I like those kinds of places. They also can go to the insurance providers. They can give them recommendations, friends. This is a warmer, and one of the warmest places to start is when you have friends or family who are already seeing therapists who have a good rapport with their therapist. Take their referrals. Now, be mindful, we're all different people. Who's good for me might not be good for you, but the fact that they have a good experience is way better than just a cold meetup with somebody I do not know at all. And let me think, is there any others? I think and then doctors. Your doctors can always give you referrals if you need it as well.
Okay, very good advice there then. Now, Carmella, where do you think the future of mental health is going, particularly within the family and marriage?
I think whew, it's a little interesting right now. In one regard, a lot more people are open to therapy, which is so good because I feel like so many of us in all our different ethnicities and backgrounds, we all got our own stuff that we need to be able to unpack. We need a safe place to talk about things where we don't have to worry about it filtering into our families and friendships or going back at the water cooler at work. Everybody I feel needs a safe place where they don't have to protect and defend. So one, I love that more people are open to therapy. The second part though is I feel like therapy would do best if it continues to grow to where more therapists are doing a little bit more of a hybrid therapy coaching because the education system and how we're all groomed has changed over the years, and people need just a different type of facilitation. Just you talking to me, and I'm building out your thoughts, asking you questions and kind of letting you just feel through it all. That works for some people. For some people who've like been holding in a lot and they just need to talk, they just need to get it out. That is great. But that only goes so far. There comes a time and a place where, okay, we dug all this up. I got it right here. Now, what are we going to do with it? I used to work at a mental hospital, and the teen girls used to come in there. And I'm like, wait a minute, why are y'all here? You got therapists. And they were like, we go every week and we just talk. We just talk and we talk. We don't do anything with it. And I was like, what? And I'm very strategic, I'm very process oriented and solution focused. So we're going to do something with it. And that's the thing that is not traditionally therapeutic. We don't necessarily, that's not therapy. So it's kind of like, that's what I feel like if therapy really wants to grow and continue to be a real genuine thing, then more therapists doing a little bit of a hybrid of therapy plus some coaching would be the best thing for our field.
Got it. Okay. Well, Carmella, thank you for sharing. I do have one last question for you, but before I ask it, I do want to point people to your website at conversationswithcarmella.com.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Now, last question for you, Carmella. What does beauty mean to you?
Oh, beauty. I love that. Beauty to me is definitely the first thing when you said beauty, I just thought inside. It's something that comes from the inside out. It's something that makes it's shiny, it's beautiful, it's pretty, it just looks great and it feels great. And that's the thing that I am trying to help all of my clients cultivate is their own beauty. Whatever size you are, whatever color you are, like what feels good to you, I want us to exude more beauty. I always tell them about glowing from the inside out. because so many of us, we just don't feel good in our own skin, or we don't think we have enough education, or we're good enough at our jobs, or we're good enough parents. And it's all just beauty. We're all just people here trying to do the best we can. And I want everybody to love it.
Okay, well, there you have it. Carmella sharing her expertise. So, Carmella, if people want to learn more about you and what you do, how can they contact you?
They can contact me at info@carmellabell.com, or they can go to Conversations with Carmella, or they can find me on How to Date for You on Instagram.
Nice. Well, Carmella, this was great. Thank you for coming on, and thank you for sharing your message.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been great.
Thanks for listening to the Beauty Talk podcast. Any questions, please contact the practice directly with the contact information provided during the show. We'll see you again next time. Bye for now.